Hey, girl.
Hi, girl.
That makes me laugh every time. That and good grief.
Good grief.
Okay. Hey, you're in studio, Mac.
We are in studio for this episode of The Mind, the Mirror, and Me.
Where it's sermons think of bud love. And I mean, a therapist. Hair.
Did you get that?
No.
Was that clear?
No. That's the end of a long therapeutic day, Mackie. The smell of therapy is all over me. I've seen a lot of different people today, a lot of different situations. And we were talking about kind of some difficult things in life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes there's a lot of things.
It's heavy sometimes. Lots of times.
Well, and I appreciate, though, you literally said we were talking about some for real heavy things that are gone on the last couple of days. And you were saying there's nothing you're going to be able to say that's going to make me feel better. And I want you to know you are correct. And so sometimes we just have to be able to express
You said,
things.
okay, then let's just chat.
Let's just chat.
And it was nice. It was nice to just throw it out there.
Okay.
Didn't solve everything, but
you can't. People that feel like they need to solve things, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't like the way I feel. So you just need to understand that life is blah, blah. And part of the thing is the dumb and yeah. And then that's where, I feel better.
Good grief.
Right. I mean, and that was ironic. I think I was telling you, I ended before you came here. I have this group call with a bunch of people. And then right at the end, somebody pulls out some really heavy stuff. And it was like, man, that was rough.
Gets ya.
Yeah. It's, you know what's interesting? I have to come up with a new thing. Because you still can't help it when somebody comes in. You're like, so how are you doing? You're paying someone to help you with your problems. So
you're doing real great, right? Everything's good?
No one has ever booked an appointment with me just to say, you know what? I think I want to pay you a bunch of money just to say, you know what? I'm good.
Just to say everything's great.
It is kind of wild.
So you can they walk in, you just go, how bad is it?
Yeah.
You know, you just need some.
How bad is it? Okay. Well, I thought before about let's therapy or something like I need
some little phrase there that's not just, how are you? Because they're going to lie to you. And then you're both just going to sit there and be like, okay.
Yeah.
Everyone's fine.
Yeah. I got to come up with something. Let's begin. I mean, like you and I, but I mean in therapy. Let's begin.
Let's begin.
What do you do? Is that awkward at all when you start? Because you're saying, okay, what are we doing today? Do you say that?
Yeah. It's usually like they walk in. Some people can't figure out. I have a sliding door. And so some people are on the other side and they can't figure out how to open it. So that's always kind of funny. But then they walk in and it's just like, hi, how are you? You take a seat right here. You can set your stuff anywhere. And so I have enough stuff to say.
Oh, yeah.
Where then by the time there's a gap in the conversation, it's, okay, what are we doing?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not. I don't need a phrase.
You don't. And sometimes I feel like we got to do a little warm up. And other times somebody just comes in and says,
I'm here it is.
Yeah. A really funny thing to me when you just talk about the door. First of all, of course, I want to make a joke about you running into your closed door and you have video of it.
Yeah.
It was fun.
I didn't like it.
Yeah. Okay.
My goodness.
Mackie, what are we talking about?
Okay. So the day we release this will be my birthday.
It will. Happy birthday today of the day of the release, even though it's not today.
Thank you. Which will also be Christmas Eve. So that's a thing. But
I know, like, here's what I want to say. You loved that, right, Mac? It was great, right?
I start crying. No, it was fine. It's all I knew. But I didn't like it. But I didn't know any different, so it's fine.
Little do you know, now that we know how your amazing, wonderful mother works, you want to make sure that you knew it was different. So then I think she bought extra presents.
Really?
Do you think?
No. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Wait, what's your favorite thing to do on your birthday?
We do one thing on my birthday. We have breakfast. That's
Isn't that
my
fun,
whole
though?
birthday. Yeah, it's fun. That's my whole birthday. We do breakfast. But I like breakfast, so it's good.
Breakfast.
So, my birthday. I am turning
20.
We just talked about
24.
It. Okay. I'll be turning 24, which we could do a whole thing on how I'm not excited about that. We could have a whole episode about this because I feel like 12-year-old me would not be happy with, or would not necessarily happy, but would be shocked at the way my life has turned out. Like just,
I was going to be 6'3", a full head of hair, and a pirate astronaut living on the beach.
Exactly. So
I mean,
that's what. Yeah. So we could do a whole
happy.
episode about that. How it's just, and it's a weird, you almost weirdly grieve
for real.
The life you thought you maybe would have. But anyways, that's not even what we're talking about. But that could be a whole thing because that's been hard to process.
Well, I just want to normalize that, and because my birthday was just a couple weeks ago, and you try to be very present and stuff, but it is. I feel I told somebody today who they said their birthday was last week, and he said, I didn't get as many texts as I thought I would. I didn't get as many, and I told him, can I just normalize that? The older we get, the birthday becomes this point where we reflect on.
Yeah, you kind of just then end up thinking about all the things that you haven't done yet, or.
But I would say that even when we're having amazing days and times, though, it's like I don't know if anybody is the multi-million-dollar pirate astronaut who lives on the beach.
Right. And then I will say on that note, I was talking to one of my friends about it and saying how I'm not excited about it and whatever. And then she said, okay, you need to stop, and you need to stop thinking about the 12-year-old you part. And then she said, because remember when you were 16 and you did not think you would make it to 17? And then you were 17 and you didn't think you'd make it to 18. And then she said, and now look, you're 24. That's and right. We had a moment.
Okay.
Because 12-year-old me might be like, you're not married and you're not this and have all these things, right? Yeah. But 17-year-old me had no idea I would even still be here. Yeah. So
can I tell you on that note, I actually had a client telling me a couple of days ago that they were referring to the couple of the episodes that we've done, but particularly you, and it's helped them recognize that they're glad that they got out of a marriage early on before there was kids or anything. And they really resonated with what you've talked about on this podcast. And she just said because now she's pursuing a lot of different things. And she's like, I would not have.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's wild. She kind of had a moment.
Yeah. Because somehow it all ends up being okay, even if it's not exactly how you thought it was going to be.
Yeah. So 24.
So 24.
On December 24th.
On December 24th. It is my golden birthday. That's what it's called.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah. So that's kind of cute.
Is that when you give your parents presents?
Yeah, I give everyone in my life presents, and I have to tell everyone else happy birthday. And if anyone says it to me, I fail. So
you got to call everybody?
Yeah. Oh, so for today's episode, I made a little list of 24 things I have learned in my 24 years. Okay. And I was actually shocked because when I sat down to write it, I was like, this is going to be really hard. How am I going to even come up with 24 things? And then my original list was like 40-something things.
Oh, wow.
Went, oh, crap. Okay. Narrowed it down.
I'm glad. I'm excited. I'm not going to say much.
I know. I'm like, I don't know what. I guess you just...
Be quiet.
Just shut up and let me talk.
Okay, all right, fine.
You can actually just step out.
Okay.
No, a slight reaction to each one. And we can... Not like that. Oh. And then we can chat about it if we want to.
Okay.
Or you can tell me, that's stupid, or that's wrong.
Yeah, because that's what I'll do.
Yeah, every single one you can go, that's actually so stupid. Why would you even think that?
Part of this whole, this one group call tonight, I spent 10 minutes forcing people to have an existential crisis. And there just isn't right or wrong. It just kind of is. You're thinking because you are. And so, yeah. So now I'm going to reverse all that and go, I don't like that
just one. Go, that one is actually pretty dumb. Come up with a different one.
I'm excited.
Okay.
And wait, are they like in or like a...
No, they're in no particular order. I literally made the list and then I copied and pasted it into ChatGPT and said, can you reorder this randomly? Because I just didn't, I was like, it doesn't need to be in any specific order. Okay. First thing, self-discovery, self-love, self-growth is actually a lifelong journey. And so you kind of need to just embrace each stage of it, which I think my whole life, I've thought it was like you have to reach this. You'll figure it out. You'll figure out how to love yourself. You'll figure out how to
when I get to
do
this point.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Then I got it.
Yeah, but the reality is, as people, we are changing constantly and we are growing constantly.
Hopefully, honestly.
Hopefully, yeah. If you're putting in the work and doing the things.
Yep.
So, therefore, that self-love and self-growth and self-discovery and all of that is evolving.
Yeah.
And so that's been a weird thing to wrap my head around.
And we talked a little bit earlier tonight about, I was telling you that I'm not just saying as a therapist, but as a human, it's almost my kind of freaking me out is that if people are not working on themselves and trying to self-confront and then try to get out of their own ego and say, okay, what am I pretending not to know? What do I don't know that I don't know? They're just going to keep being more of who they are. They're going to keep wanting to get rid of their discomfort and everything has to be their way and control and. But
it doesn't have to be like that because you can put in work and grow and change. Yeah. And it's hard, but you can do it.
Yep.
Okay, second thing. Quality over quantity applies to friendships.
Oh, that's good.
And that you really should focus on the genuine connections and that it's so okay to only have a few friends. But it's really it's so okay to just have your small circle of good people because that's really what life is about.
Yep.
You don't need the big giant group. You can have it if you want it, but it's okay to just have your handful of really good people.
I interviewed a lady named Kate Anthony who wrote a book about divorce called The D Word a couple weeks ago. And she just talked about when she got out of her unhealthy marriage, then all of her unhealthy friends didn't go with her. And then she said she felt alone. And then she now has amazing friends and there's not as many.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean you're not cool. It doesn't mean anything. Okay. 3, setting boundaries is an act of self-love and it's okay to say no. And that goes for anything, which we've talked about this too, but you can say no to just if you don't want to go to lunch with someone or if you don't want to like go out and do something, you can say no. It's okay. You don't have to push yourself to do literally everything.
And if you don't like them, but you're going to Fancy Burger, you could go.
If Fancy Burger's involved,
so good.
Forget what I just said.
It's so good.
And just go anyways. No, but boundaries are good. They're hard. It's hard to figure it out, but it is showing yourself love.
And I
setting boundaries.
like that. I don't know if we've said it on this podcast yet, but it's funny. I was doing a TikTok live with Sid, and we were talking about it. And so we did. I said like, okay, a boundary is a me thing, and the boundary versus ultimatum. We did talk about that, I think, because an ultimatum is you can't do this, but a boundary is like, if you do this, I will.
Yes.
And it was funny because I felt bad because then Sydney just said, yeah, I feel like I just learned this like 2 weeks ago, you know.
And that's what when we had our episode, I was kind of like, I didn't know this was a thing.
Well, and truthfully, I'm like, yeah, boundaries. And I feel like it was that simple to kind of when we framed it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
really kind of realized what it actually is. So boundaries are good. Fourth thing, which I just yelled this at you, but your worth is not tied to productivity.
Yeah, you did.
And that rest and self-care and balance are all a part of it, because it's really easy to mentally feel like you need a lazy day or a rest day, but then to sit there and just go, well, I'm just sitting here and I'm not doing this, or this. And then it's easy to feel like a failure and all the things. But in resting and taking care of yourself, you are doing something. Well, even if the thing you're doing is resting. And so it's okay. And you still have worth, even if you have a lazy day, and even if you have a week where you're just not doing a whole lot, you still have worth.
Hey, but what about the podcast that you edited for me, Dr. Sandra Dalton Smith?
Oh, so crazy.
I'm going to put it out next week. Sacred Rest is her book. And I was so happy that you liked it.
It was crazy. Everyone should listen to it.
She talked about restorative rest.
Yeah.
So you can't, it's like you could sleep all day and still feel tired because you have to have, it was like a physical, emotional, spiritual, creative,
a couple other things, but that you have to rest in all of those areas.
Yeah, but it's restorative, meaning you do things.
Yeah, so you're doing things to get that rest, and that is a good thing.
Yeah, it's wild.
So it's not, you don't have to just be go, forcing yourself to do things to feel like you are worth anything.
Yeah.
That's just not a thing. You need to work on that.
Hey. Right. Like, what am I going to say? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Number 5. Comparison really is the thief of joy.
These are good.
Because that is when you hear comparison is the thief of joy and you go, that's stupid. But it really is.
It really is.
And that's something I'm like, this is things I've learned, but that I will say that is when I'm still learning. And I don't really know. I don't know how to deal with it fully. But it sucks. If you're comparing yourself to other people in any way, it just hurts you and it sucks.
I don't want to take all the time, but have I told you this quote about comparison from a lady named Tara Brach from Radical Acceptance?
I don't know.
This is amazing. She just says, sounds like a commercial for Buddhism. She says, but she's talking about Buddhism, that says that it's part of spiritual awakening, the process of recognizing our essential goodness, our natural wisdom and compassion. And then she said, in stark contrast to this, trust in our inherent worth as our culture's guiding myth, the story of Adam and Eve's exile from the Garden of Eden. Now, she's just pointing, she's not like, boo, religion or whatever. She says, we may forget its power because it seems so worn and familiar, but the story shapes and reflects the deep psyche of the West. The message of original sin is unequivocal. Because of our flawed nature, we don't deserve to be happy or loved by others or at ease with life. We're outcasts, and if we are to re-enter the garden, we must redeem ourselves. We must overcome our flaws by controlling our bodies, controlling our emotions, controlling our natural surroundings, controlling other people. And we must strive tirelessly, working, acquiring, consuming, achieving, emailing, overcommitting, and rushing in a never-ending quest to prove ourselves once and for all. And I just feel that quote so powerful because it's almost saying like, if we really do believe that we are bad, now we have to earn our way to good. And subconsciously, the only way you know if you are is if there's somebody that isn't as good. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Where then you have to turn to this comparison, but it's in a horrible negative way.
It is. And so that's where they were, when she was talking about like the concept around the Buddhism, they have you already have it all within you. Mm-hmm. You are good. And now life becomes a journey of unlocking those things, not trying to make sure I'm better than somebody else.
I saw a quote. It was one of the things I kind of had in here that then I ended up taking out. Uh-huh. And I'm going to forget what it is now that I'm saying it. But it was something along the lines of you were born complete.
That's good.
And then everything from here on out is growth.
Yeah.
And I was like, you don't have to earn anything or prove any. It's like,
plus in that scenario, like if you have to, you're comparison, and you're also needing somebody else to tell you you're okay, which is that you're handing your power to somebody else.
Right.
And then if they're a jerk, then they're like, no, okay. I don't like that. And you're like, oh, dang it. So being me was wrong.
Right.
Which is silly.
Right. And so it is the cheesy thing where the only comparison you should be making is
your mom.
Are you proud of that? Are you glad
kind
you said
of.
That?
It was funny because it's literally your mom. Yeah. This is awesome.
Funny. No, but is yourself. You should only be comparing where you are to where you've been and growing from there.
Yep. Being and doing.
That would be a better merch thing than the
being and doing
face.
Yeah. I've been saying that lately.
Yeah, you always
I say it a lot. I do. Yeah. Oh, like I always
just
say.
Being and doing.
Oh my gosh.
That's it right there.
Buy our merch. Being and doing.
Still doesn't
We're
exist.
Sold out of I love your face or whatever.
On to the next one.
Yeah. Being and doing. I like that one.
Okay, number 6.
Celebrate. Be like a bee.
Stop. Okay. We can do this later.
Okay.
6. Celebrate small victories. Progress is progress, no matter the scale. It's the little things. This has been a big thing in my life where it really is. It's
ironic because it's the little things that's been the big thing for you.
Good grief.
Okay.
But it is. It's the little things. It's the day-to-day little things. Those do matter, and they do add up. And it is the 10% shifts that matter more than it's the A to B, not the A to Z, and all the things.
So is.
Which, again, we've talked about that so many times. But that's
this is your birthday, Mackie.
Yeah, this is my birthday.
All the things you want. It's
that's
about
a big
the
one.
Slow residue of lived experience.
It really, really, really is.
So exciting. Hard to sell a book on that. Hey, it's going to take a long time.
It's going to take forever, slow. And it's tiny little steps.
But then when you get there,
it's kind of okay. Okay, number 7. Failures are not the end of the world. Don't be afraid to learn and grow from them. I have been a person where when I fail, it is the end of the world. And it doesn't have to be. Yeah. It does not have to be. It can just be like a little stepping stone. Yeah. Failing is okay.
Because that fear of failure then stops people from doing.
Right.
And then they can't be or do.
Being and doing. Okay, number 8. Listen to your gut.
Oh, I thought you were going to say your dad.
If your dad's cool, listen to your dad.
Okay.
But otherwise, listen to your gut. But trust yourself. Your body is good. It knows things. My gut is rarely wrong. And so you just got to trust it.
Give it 30 seconds on the timer. This is my new thing.
Ready, set, go.
Okay. When you're a kid, your parent says this is the right thing. So then everything else must be the
wrong thing.
Yep. So then a parent, even a good one, is like, oh no, don't worry about it. That's not it. You actually need to do it different. So then when kid externalizes their emotions, they continually are told, nope, you're wrong. So then they're like, whoa, being me is wrong. Yes. So I need to now make sure that somebody tells me is right.
And anything that comes from me must be wrong.
Yeah. And then adult human beings are in my office going like, oh, I don't want to say it wrong. And so I get to say, oh, there is, you just say it.
It's just you being and doing.
You say it, and then we'll see what you do. And then if somebody else is like, I don't like it, well, that's a you problem.
Yeah. And it's fine.
There's a book called Being Wrong.
Okay.
This was a deep thought, and I think it goes along with what you just said. She describes how the author being wrong initially feels indistinguishable from being right, and only in retrospect do we recognize our mistakes. So if you break that down, when you are just expressing yourself, you just are, and then somebody's like, I don't like that. Oh, I did it wrong.
It's like, no, because you were just expressing yourself, and that is right. Yeah. You expressing yourself is fair and right.
Yep.
Okay, number 9. You're going to like this one. All you can do is be here now.
Okay. This is for your birthday, and now I want to say things.
But that's another one where I'm trying to work on that because it is a whole mindfulness.
It is such a mindfulness.
And acceptance thing, but I'm really working on that because the truth is it doesn't help to worry about the past. Nope. It doesn't help to worry about the future. It doesn't help to do the what ifs. It doesn't help to do the yeah buts. It doesn't help to do any of those things. It's just we're right here right now. And that is it. So
I went and spoke at a funeral in Tennessee on Saturday. I show up there, and honestly, probably I missed the memo. I was in charge.
Okay.
So then
okay, we're doing this.
Sitting there, everybody's in their car. I say to my cousin, why isn't anybody getting out yet? And he's like, I think they're waiting for you.
Oh, huh?
Yeah, right. So I get out there and everybody gets out there. I'm like, okay. So then I start shaking hands and hugging babies and all that. And then the funeral person comes up. Is it pastor or is it reverend? I'm like, it's Tony.
It's Tony.
Yeah. What do you need? Isn't that wild? But this concept of we're doing this.
Because what are you going to do in that moment? Are you going to freak out and get mad at people or complain?
Because if you are, then it's like you want everybody to go, oh, must be unfair.
Yeah.
So here we are.
It's or you can just embrace it and do your best to do what you can in that moment. Because we're right here right now. That's it.
I love it. I do. You're right. I do like that one.
Yeah.
I'm not going to like the next one, I bet.
I know you're going to hate this one.
Okay.
Okay, number 10. Sometimes you outgrow people or situations, and that's okay.
That's good.
And that's part of life. That has been a big one for my 20s, I'd say. Just whether it's friendships, jobs, situations, anything. I don't even necessarily mean outgrow in the sense that like you're getting better. No, not even like that. Just sometimes things change or things don't align the way that they did. And that doesn't mean anything negative towards either party necessarily. It just, sometimes it happens and it's okay. And it's not a fault to either person or the situation, or it's just a thing. Okay, number 11. This is one that I'm trying to trust in more so than I've totally learned this. Okay. But if it's meant for you, it will not pass you, and you will not miss it. Because I do this with a lot of things and opportunities, but especially with the fact that I'm still single and I have not found a person for me and all the things. I'll play the game of, well, what if it's because I didn't go to this place or I didn't go to this thing? And it's like, no, if it is meant for you in your life, and this doesn't just mean in relationships, this can be job opportunities, people, friends, whatever. But I just think some way or another, the universe is going to correct that and put that in your path again. Because if it's meant for you, it's not like you just had one chance and you had to be at that grocery store at that minute and you weren't there. And so now you don't get to ever be married or something, it just, that's not a thing. That doesn't make sense.
Do you know who Brandon Sanderson is?
No.
He's an author, science fiction. I haven't read his books. They're really long and they have lots of words. But somebody had posted this somewhere, and I love this. And the quote will come through in the end, and it's what we're talking about now. Okay. At first, you're gonna think, "What are you doing, old man?" But he's talking about some characters in a book, and he just says, "I leaned into arrogance and took credit for things beyond my control. There's one simple reason why: arrogance is easier, arrogance is safer. Because if the terrible thing that happened is all your fault, then there's still the chance that you'll be able to stop future terrible things from happening. Sometimes blaming yourself feels better than admitting that the fate of the world may be out of your control." So I feel like that's a little bit of that, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, wow, if I would have done this thing, I bet I probably would be a pirate astronaut living on the beach. But I didn't, because it can't be just, it's
just the universe doing its thing. It's maybe a higher power. It's whatever. Yeah. It's like, it just is.
Because we still want control.
That's interesting. Yeah. It's okay to just accept that you don't have all the control and that that's okay. You can still be okay.
Yeah.
And not have control over things. That's been one I'm trying to trust heavily. Okay, number 12. A private life is a happy life.
What does that mean?
And I mean this in the sense that there have been times in my life, I mean, I'm talking like high school, but then every once in a while, where I would literally post everything, like to social media. I would post everything I did everywhere I went. There was a post literally every day, or like whether it was on my Snapchat story and Instagram or whatever. And even on Facebook, I used to go in and make albums of every year, and I would put all my pictures into it.
Yeah.
And I stopped doing all of that. And I still post. I post some happy things. I post things occasionally, but I've posted way, 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 way less. And it's really nice because you're not sitting there waiting for I need someone to validate me and I need someone to tell me like, oh, that was really cool. It's like, no, you can just do your things privately and you can share the things that are fun and happy, but you don't have to share everything.
I have to tell you, I like that so much because I feel like I have been, this is going to sound so dumb. I've been too busy to get on the social medias, but I saw a place, I forget where it even was today. I was just poking around like creator tools on my account or something.
Yeah.
And I found a place that said that I average 6 minutes a day on Instagram. And I kind of like that.
Most people are hours and hours and hours. And that's I'm like, if I didn't have to, because I have to do social media for my job. If I didn't have to, I seriously think I would get rid of it all.
Well, because to be fair, I've got some people that take care of Instagram, but I've noticed that then it's felt a little bit better to not go look at other stuff because it's almost like the comparison thing we talked about earlier.
Yeah, the comparison thing, and then just seeing sometimes you see heavy things and you see things that just, you can actually live a very happy life just giving yourself validation, and that's enough, Now,
to be honest, I would not want to go see how much time is on bingo and taking
bingo would be crazy.
If I'm winning money, Mac.
So it's fine. If there's money involved,
bingo.
Fine. Okay, number 13, which I'm curious if you know about this. There's a theory within this one, okay. That I want to know if you have
I'll be honest.
Opinions. Okay, never beg anyone to stay or to see your worth or to want you. Just let them go.
Yeah, that one's a hard one to...
It's really hard. It's really hard. Yeah, but
it's true.
In the end, you feel better if you just let them go. But I've learned that. Like, at least for me, anytime I've begged anyone to stay or to want me or to care about me or anything, I've just felt stupid afterwards. It's just better to let them go.
Mackie. And yeah, because as a marriage therapist, sometimes I even think my job's a little wacky. Because if people are coming in, that's why I always say to myself and others that there's either we don't know what we don't know, and we get the tools, and now all of a sudden we can communicate. And that's the part I know that, because like that's where I sometimes I have to remind myself. I have a lot of people that come in and they can be on the verge of divorce, but it's because of their own childhood stuff.
Right.
They get my 4 pillars and they embrace them. And like, there's others that honestly don't do it.
Yeah.
And that's the part where it kind of is difficult, because that's where I sometimes feel like, and again, back to this lady that I had on who wrote a book about divorce. She said that if you're listening to podcasts and the other person isn't, and you're doing the work and the other person isn't, stuff's in motion. Yeah. And I have had a couple people react to that. But how do you argue with that?
I know.
Because one person's going to say, okay, I'm going to continue to self-care, develop, confront. Yeah. And the other person isn't. And so the other person doesn't realize, even because they're not being curious about the person that's on their growth journey. And so that person, though, is having experiences where they probably want...
thumbs up.
Oh, they probably want more, want to talk about more. Want to do, and then if they say it, though, the other person's like, you think I'm not doing it right. Or, right. That's hard.
But yeah, so there's like this, it's like the let them theory is the thing.
Oh, I don't know that.
And I don't know. I just saw like an interview video thing on it, and I don't know who it was, but the lady was saying it's like this let them theory. And it's like, if they want to do and basically fill in the blank with anything, let them. And so if they want to be caring and attentive and kind and put in the work, obviously let them. But if they're going to be
they're not
the worst and they're going to do all the terrible things, you just let them, and you don't. It's not your job to sit there and try to get them to change and do different things, which is hard, but for your own peace, just let them.
And that's so hard.
Yeah, which I also threw in with this one. Being single is better than being in a bad relationship.
Look at the quote right there by Robin Williams. It's right above the Brandon Sanderson one. Have you heard that one?
Oh, yeah. It's deep.
Yeah. Do you want to read it?
I used to think that the worst thing in life was to end up alone. It's not. The worst thing in life is to end up with people who make you feel alone. Oh. Which that's it right there. Because to be in a relationship where you still just feel alone, just be single. Just be single. It's better that way. Yeah. So that's been a thing. Been learning. It's okay to be single. You don't need someone else to prove that for you or anything. Yeah. And so that's another where I deleted all my dating apps and just.
I was thinking about. I wonder how many millions and trillions or whatever of downloads. Like, because how many people they have the dating app, delete it. Download it,
it's the whole thing constantly.
Right? Yeah, I hear that all the time.
It's the name of the game. Okay, 14.
Hey, happy birthday.
Thanks.
Today,
right now. 14. You don't need to prove anything to anyone.
Prove that.
I don't have to.
Dang it.
But really, you don't have to prove anything to anyone ever. And that's pretty self-explanatory. But
it is. It's good.
You don't owe anyone anything, basically.
And again, differentiation. Somebody's like, well, I don't agree with you. Help me understand that. And it's like, that's it.
No, I don't. I'm good.
So you think.
That's your problem. Okay, next one. No feeling is final. So feel every chance you get. And with that, tell people how you feel.
That one I'm scared of.
That it's terrifying.
Yep. Because they might say nothing.
Yeah. they might say nothing. Or it could be bad. But I saw something, I can't think of the words of it, but it basically was like, be bold and say all the things and do whatever. And the people that you want will match that. And then you'll weed out the rest of them. Mm-hmm. Like that kind of idea. Feel your feelings, basically.
It's funny when you said feel your feelings.
What?
I lost a filling today and I was feeling my missed filling and it's sharp.
I didn't know that could happen. That's actually really scary.
It is. And I haven't had that before and it's pokey.
Careful.
So you said feel your feelings and I was like, I'm
feeling my feeling.
Feeling my feeling.
But you say words weird so that you probably say those the same.
No.
Say miracle.
Miracle.
Say how you actually say it.
Actually, I've been working on that for years now. I used to say miracle.
Yeah. And say pen.
Pin.
Say pillow.
Pillow?
No, say how you actually say it.
I think, but see, I've worked on it because you guys make fun of me. I think I used to say pillow.
Yeah.
Why are you being mean?
Because it's my birthday.
Okay, you can be mean.
Okay, next one. Write things down.
Oh, okay. Well, these are good.
Because you will forget. There's so many things that I'm like, I should have just written that down because I think in my head, I'm going to remember that.
I will.
And then I don't. And I'm always so happy to go look back at my notes and see, like, I'll just write down good little moments I have every once in a while. Not very often, but when I think about it. And then I'm like, I'm so glad I took the time to write that down. Because you're going to start forgetting. I'm 23 and I'm already forgetting it. Well, I'm 24.
Yes, you are today.
Already forgetting. I forget so many things. So I'm like, just write it down.
And here, okay. And pro tip for that one, it's funny because even this thing that I pulled up here for this quote is called Random Quotes and Thoughts. Yeah. I have so many of these Google documents.
Yeah, which is amazing though.
And then on my therapist notes, I write per client, and then I have one that says men's group. I have one that just says Tony's thoughts. I have one that says, and I keep them up there. So if something hits me, I write it. And I haven't gone back and looked at them sometimes, but I know one of them is 24 pages long now.
Wow.
I know. So thank you for saying that.
Yeah, that's a good one. Which another thing.
I'm saying that I've been doing that for all of a couple of years. So
which
get on it.
I haven't done this, but I did when I was in college. I used to write. I have a whole notes thing that I would just write down quotes that were funny that anyone said. Like anytime anyone said anything funny.
One time.
Yeah, and I don't know why I don't still do that because you forget the funny little interactions you have, and to be able to go look back at that, like I die laughing every time I go look back at it because it's just so funny. I need to start doing that again. Okay, 17. It will never be perfect, so just start. Yeah. Just start doing the thing. Just put in the work. Start trying. Make any effort. And with that, you can always start over. What?
I know. I was just like, you just said it funny. I wrote this today. Somebody, new person I'm talking to has a baby. And we were talking about, he's talking about, he pees everywhere all the time. He's opened up the diaper and he pees. And I was thinking about when we had the 3 girls and a boy. And I was like, and I just wrote a funny thing. Yeah, Jake got a couple of shots past the guard because he had to like quick block it. And then I wrote this, Mackie, what would that look like if an adult human pooped up their back? Because like when babies blow out their diaper. And I was like, then I had myself dying. This was today.
Write things down.
Right. And I was sitting there like, all of a sudden you're sitting here and you're just like, whoa, gosh.
No.
And you used to throw up as a baby all the time. So you're sitting here just like,
and I just act like nothing. I'm just like, oh, hang on.
I'm like, oh, Mackie, sorry.
We just keep going like nothing happened. Good going. 18. You can't change or fix people.
Oh, these are good.
You can't. I tried. I was in a scary relationship for a year, and I tried the whole time. It doesn't work, and you just hurt yourself.
Yeah, you do.
You can't change or fix people. You can encourage people. And you can work with them, but you cannot ultimately change or fix them.
I closed this, so I won't talk about it. But I just got the book Act with Love. It's my favorite acceptance and commitment therapy book for couples. And they talk about all the different things about human beings and how different we are. And so he was kind of saying, Russ Harris, the author, was saying basically like, yeah, good luck trying to change somebody. But they introduced the concept of influence, though. Okay. That you can influence your partner. But it's if you're coming from a place of not trying to control or manipulate.
Okay. It has to be a good, loving place, not just I need you to do this.
Yep.
Control thing. Okay. Interesting.
I know, huh?
Okay, this one. Tell me your thoughts. But move out of your hometown, even if it's for a little bit. Even if it's just for a little bit. Yeah. Because I feel like the most growth I've had has been since I moved out, even though it was scary and I didn't know how to deal with it and whatever. But I feel like you have to do your thing, at least for a second.
So I had a whole session on this today because it's the concept of the relational frame. So over time, your brain likes patterns and order, and because then it can commit things to habit. And so then when I pull up here, I feel this way. When I go here, I do this. And so the pop psychology view is when you move, you're running away from problems. But the reality is you're changing your relational frame. So now there's new restaurants and there's new trails and there's new people and there's new hiking paths. And so your brain goes, okay, I can create all new situations here. So it's really good.
Yeah. So that highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Which doesn't mean you can't go back home, but do it for yourself. I think it's important. Okay. This one, we've talked about this lots of times in other episodes, but nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody has it all figured out. Nobody does. And I don't know why we still all pretend that we do. Nobody does. But then I threw on it to the end of that one. So just be kind to people because we're just all trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And we're all scared and we're all sad and then we're all feeling all the things and it's just hard. And so just...
I know. It's back to the funeral example that there were a couple times where I was present and I'm just doing it. And there was a part of me that thought, oh, there's a bunch of old people here. And I wonder if any of them are going to be like, he should have done it different. Like,
just like, nobody knows. There's no blueprint. There's no correct way to do it. Okay. 21. Find a career that you actually like. And even with that, just even finding hobbies that you like. But find things that you like, but especially with the career thing, because I cannot wrap my head around the fact that people have careers that they hate and hate every second of it.
And I think more people than don't.
I think talking to my clients, so like I know, most people do.
Most of the people I talked to literally today, that came up a few times.
Where I'm like, people just are miserable. And I know that there are certain situations where it's not necessarily an option to just like do something else. But so that's where then the hobbies come in at least.
I know, like that you said that.
Where if you are in a position where you can't change the career thing, I think we talked about this at one point too, maybe, but change things about it, like within the career.
Into it.
Yeah. Or find those hobbies.
Is that you or me?
I don't know. Find those hobbies that you like too, because you don't have to be miserable every second of every day. 22. Holding grudges only hurts you.
Okay. It's good.
I've held grudges. It just sucks.
The other person often doesn't.
The other person doesn't care. They don't even know they're done. They've moved on, and then you're sitting there being like, ah.
There are people that, I mean, again, I know this probably goes into your office too, but I will have people that haven't talked to somebody for years in their family.
Yeah. And it's still like taking up all these, what you say, emotional calories. Yeah. Still just taking up all of that. That just doesn't have to be happening. Okay. 23. Adaptability is a superpower. Embrace change and learn to thrive in it. Don't fear change. Because again, we've kind of mentioned, but it's like change is a constant. And I know it's scary and it's unknown. And that's like, people hate that. But it is a constant in life. And so I think the more you can practice not being afraid of it, just the better everything is going to go for you.
Would you say be afraid and do it anyway? Mackie's showing that she drew it on her arm with a pen.
Every morning I wake up.
Every morning. It looks real.
I draw it on there. And then I go about my day.
I'll tell a funny story. One time you were talking about doing, I forget what it was, and your mom was really funny. She's like, if only you had that written down somewhere.
I was being like a weenie about something, and I was like, I need to just like do it anyway.
She's like, if only you had it written down somewhere.
If only. Silly mom. Okay, are you ready for number 24?
I don't know. Drum roll. What if it's the dumbest one?
It might be because I didn't.
ChatGPT could have done it dumb.
I didn't do it in a good order. Okay.
It's like
Okay, number 24. Nobody is talking about you. People don't think about you as much as you think they do.
Yeah.
And then I put a little dash in a good way.
Right. Yes.
It's not a bad thing. It's not that you're not cool and special and fun and nice and so great. It's just not that deep. And everything doesn't have to be taken personally, which I'm so guilty of that. But they're not talking about you. They're not laughing at you. They just don't care that much. It's just not that deep.
In this intense thing that I was talking about tonight, this lady, bless her heart, but she was talking about her kids have to go with somebody they're not a big fan of. And she's like, oh, will they just be worried about me the whole time? And I was kind of like, they'll probably like be watching cartoons.
Yeah, you're like, I don't want to be that person and say that, but they probably just aren't thinking about you that much.
And then I said, I think I remember having parents as a kid.
If I really think about it.
And I was sitting there thinking, I was joking because I was like, I wonder if my kids know that I'm not home right now, or,
do they even know?
They're probably so worried about me slaying the dragon every day. And I'm like, they're
so stressed about it.
That's right.
They're like, we're going to SpongeBob today.
Right. And when they think about dad, they're like, oh yeah.
They're like, oh yeah,
hey,
he's
can I
here.
have some money? Yeah.
But no, it's in a way that I think it's almost the fact that people don't think about you and don't care that much is, if you reframe it, it's like a freedom. And it's just you do you, because it actually doesn't matter.
Hey, I like that. This is so good. And it goes back, I think at times also to, man, what a waste of emotional calories. Because I'm now thinking of a person at one point that was talking about, and I pulled out of my street and the guy at the end didn't wave at me. So I know that he was just sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, I can't even believe she's leaving right now. And I was like, or he was just moving a garbage can or something.
Yeah, just like wasn't that deep.
But she thought it that day and then ruminated on it and then brought it into therapy. The guy probably had no idea.
No.
And even if he was, then that's a him thing.
Yeah. Which again, all just kind of comes back to most things in life are just not that deep.
Yeah.
It's just not that serious.
It's so funny.
We're on a floating rock.
Okay. I'll be over in the corner.
Shall I keep going?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Okay, Mackie, that was an amazing list.
But that's 24 things I've learned in my
really
whopping 24 years.
That was really good.
And I think it's kind of fun. I kind of want to keep doing that each year and just add on to the list and make more. And I think more people, if you're listening, you should too, because you need to write things down.
Yeah. The ones that just missed the list, birds and bees smell fear. The human head weighs 8 pounds. What were some other ones?
Well, I'll save it for next year, probably. And I thought the human head weighed 10 pounds.
Yeah, I don't know. That was from Jerry Maguire. The little cute kid says something like that. Oh, ducks and bees smell fear.
I hold a lot of heads in sinks.
Oh!
They're pretty heavy.
That's a good point.
I hold soggy heads in sinks. Heavy.
Attached to people's bodies.
Mostly. Just kidding.
All right, so do you want to talk about the discount on the being and doing oven mitt?
I love the oven mitt. It's my favorite thing you've ever done.
The thing that kills me is we got only right-handed ones.
I know. So you're kind of screwed. You don't even get to do it. It's such a bummer. We got some toe socks too.
Okay.
Yeah, good stuff.
Okay.
But anyways, everyone, tell me happy birthday.
Happy birthday! If you're watching on the YouTubes, watch these balloons go up right here. That's so cool.
Because it's my birthday.
I know. Happy birthday, Mackie.
But also, happy holidays.
Yep.
And all the things. You got anything else to add?
Yeah.
Really?
Just realized that I've had my glasses off the whole time, and it's the part where I look like a young Voldemort.
Mackie and Voldemort out.